Mike McGordy here from mikesbackyardnursery.com. Today I want to talk to you about propagating snow angel, coral bells in general, Heuchera, but common name coral bells. But today we're doing snow angel, which is, to the best of my knowledge, it's not patented. I don't think it's ever been patented, and it's really one of the prettiest ones of all. When people see them here in our landscape and stuff, they go crazy. They want them because they have this really pretty green and white variegated leaf, but they also make a really pretty flower. But this is kind of a challenging plant because you can't just put them in your landscape and then walk up and take 100, 200 cuttings off of them like we do a lot of other things. So you literally have to divide them, and then in the process you might have a few little sprigs that you can pick off of there and stick in a flat. So I'm going to kind of show you how I do that. And Lily will probably get in a little bit closer as we do that. So what happened was this spring I had about 4 of these in my landscape that had gotten too big and the centers were dying out. So I dug them up, and I took a chunk and put it back in so I'd still have them in my landscape. And then I took all the pieces that I had left over. We brought them over here and we literally tore them apart. We potted up a bunch of them, and I'll show you some in the pots. And then everything that I just didn't have time to pot at the time, I stuck all of them in groups in a pot like this. And they've been there, it's like August 8th today. And so they've been in these containers probably since sometime in April. So basically now, this is truly a case of don't sell the golden goose that lays the golden egg, because you have to keep some plants around so you can propagate from them. So basically I'm going to take something like this and I'm going to plant it in a bed over there. I could pot this, but I don't want to pot them right now. I still have a few in pots, but and they don't overwinter real well in a pot for me. So it's August, so I'm not going to put more things in a pot that I could lose over the winter. So we're going to put them in a bed over there where we will constantly have a great supply that we can dig up and divide and produce more plants. So that's going to go in the bed. That'll go in the bed. And they got really weird long roots, but a lot of the fibrous roots are at the bottom, so I try and save that when I can. Now here's one. It's a pretty good example of this part. Would be great to put in the ground, but these pieces I can actually stick in a flat. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to tear that off, because I want that little tiny heel there, because that's where it's going to root. And I'll tear this one off. Again, I got a little heel there. And then I'm going to put this in a bed, but this is like insanely long, so I will trim a little bit of this off so I don't have to plant it 10 feet deep. Here's another one. There's nothing here that's real great, but I'll rip off a piece there. And I think I'll leave it at that. That'll go in the ground. This one we can rip off a piece here. I didn't get a good heel, but actually once you get them like this, they root pretty easily, and all you got to do is stick them in a flat and put them in a shaded area and keep them watered. They don't really like to be soaking wet. So again, this one's got a mile long root. I'm going to take a chance and cut that off just so I can get it planted. So now the ones that I tore off here, this one's a little weird, but because it's got a long root. But basically I have a flat here filled with it's a potting mix. It's a mixture of peat moss and perlite. And I take this screwdriver and just make a hole in there like this so I can get them in there, because this peat moss is wet now. And I basically just stick them in there and tamp them in a little bit. There's another one, got a nice little heel on it. Getting them in there is kind of weird, so I kind of push them in with my finger to get that down in. So then these I will take and put them, like I said, I'll put them in the shade and just keep them moist, and chances are these things are going to root quite nicely for me. So those are going to be put in the ground. Now I'll show you a couple of the ones that we potted this spring. So what's amazing is that I only started with like 4 plants this spring. I've gotten all these divisions, and then we potted a bunch of them. These were potted from those divisions in April. And we've already sold a ton of these, and we got more to sell here. We've still got more in the bed over there that we can sell. And then I'll show you where I'm putting these in the ground over here. So I got my string down, and basically I'm taking the divisions that I showed you over there, and I'm digging a hole with my Easy Digger. This thing is called an Easy Digger. Get one on Amazon. It's an amazing tool because it makes a really nice hole. Lily, step in here a little bit closer. We'll make a hole. So for some of them, I need a pretty deep hole, but that thing is a great digging tool. You're not doing this. All you do is pull it, and it makes a hole. So basically, now what I've done here is keep this bed looks like it could easily turn into a giant weed patch, and it very much could. So what I'm doing, because I've tried mulching beds like this in the past and that works okay, but once you put mulch down, then you can't go in there and hoe and cultivate or do anything because you got the mulch in the way. So what I've done here is once I get them planted, then I go back through and I take a pre-emergent. If you're doing this at home, your pre-emergent of choice is probably preen. I use Snapshot because I can buy it in like a 50-pound bag. And so I just sprinkle it on there, and then I take a little rake and I just kind of rake it in so that it gets mixed in, because if it's laying on top of the soil, the sun will dissipate it very quickly. But if you incorporate it in the top, maybe ½ inch to 1 inch of the soil, it works pretty well. So that's my plan of attack here for the weeds. And then once I start getting some weeds, I can go in and pick the weeds, and if it gets to be too much of a problem, I can cultivate the bed and then put down more pre-emergent. And then of course, as the plants get bigger, they start shading things pretty well, and that helps to keep the weeds at bay as well. So you can check back with me later. I'm not real good about answering questions on YouTube, I'll admit to that, but below the video, right down here, I'll put a link to a page on my website, and if you go to mikesbackyardnursery.com, you can ask a question on any post on the site. I check that like daily, and I answer any questions that you may have. So we're propagating Heuchera, coral bells. This one is snow angel. I'm Mike McGroarty from mikesbackyardnursery.com. Thanks a lot.